I remember seeing a post where someone was seeking advice on the shares that he could buy with 10,000 shillings and could give him good dividends. The post went like, with 10,000 shillings, which shares can I buy for good dividends? And the replies to that question was not so pleasant at all. They were appalling. Someone told him to accumulate funds or to get 100,000 shillings to be able to talk about good dividends. Then others just laughed. They were laughing emojis. And then someone said, how could you have 10,000 shillings and good dividends in the same sentence? But that is not what investment is all about. Whereas it is true that the more capital you have, the higher your returns, it's not true that when you have small capital, you should not invest or you should wait until you have a higher amount. Whoever told the person that wait until you have 100,000 shillings for you to be able to talk about good dividends forgot about the fact that for you to have 100,000 shillings, you certainly must have 10,000 shillings. And investing is about starting from where you are. Remember, I told you that for you to start buying shares, for you to start trading in shares, or for you to start accumulating shares, growing your wealth in the stock exchange, growing your wealth in shares, you need to buy a minimum of 100 shares in whichever counter that is. So is it possible to get any shares when you have 10,000 shillings? Or is it true that you must wait to have a starting capital of 100,000 shillings for you to start trading in shares or in NSC if you want to go have good dividends? Certainly not. Certainly not. With as little as 1,500 shillings, you can start accumulating your wealth in shares. Even 300 shillings is enough for you to have some stocks. Now, the amount, your starting capital in investing in the stock exchange depends on the specific share that you want to buy, the specific counter that you want to onboard. As of today, when I'm doing this video, Stanchart shares is about 202,000. So if you want to buy Stanchart shares, you must have a minimum of 202 times 100, which is 20,000 shillings. 20,200 shillings. So if you want to buy Stanchart shares as of today, you need to have at least 20,200, let's say 21,000 shillings. All right? If you want to buy COP shares, the share price today should be about 13 shillings, 13.3 shillings thereabouts. You need to have at least 1,300 shillings. So the starting capital for investing in shares is not fixed. Is it possible to start with 10,000 shillings? Let's look at the stocks that you can acquire or what 10,000 shillings can give you from different counters on the basis of today's rates. Have a look at this, yeah? So with 10,000 shillings, you can have 299 KCB shares. You can buy NCBA shares, 220 units. You can have 700 Cooperative Bank shares. You can have 231 equity shares at today's price of 43 shillings. DTB shares, you can have 210 units at today's price of 45.2 shillings. And ABSa can get you 664 shares at today's price of 14.2 shillings. Like I have said, Stanchart shares can get you 47 at today's price of 202 shillings. And I&M Bank, you can have 432 shares using the 10,000 shillings at today's price of 22 shillings. Housing Finance Group, on the other hand, you can have 2,359 shares at today's price of 4 shillings. Stanbic can get you 81 shares at today's price of 117 shillings. So as we have seen, it depends on which specific counter you are onboarding. In this, I have just given you a scenario of the banking industry. We have different other industries that you might be interested in. We have the standard approach is for you to diversify your portfolio, understand the company that you're investing in, and diversify your portfolio across different companies and also across different sectors. If you are going, you can go for the agricultural sector, you can go for the pick a stock in the insurance sector, you can go for banking sector. I have specifically given you the pricing for the banking sector because I have a biased interest in the banking sector. I am not implying that the banking sector is the best industry or is the best sector or is the best sector to pick in the NSE. No, I personally have a biased interest in the banking sector, but the rule of thumb is that diversify your investment. If you are picking shares in the banking sector, you can diversify. Pick 2 or 3 different stocks. Now, what will you be looking at as you pick your stocks? There are a number of things you need to be looking at, like the dividend yields, the performance of that specific company, the management, the share prices. Like you can't, if you can't manage the Stanchart shares, like if you're investing only 10,000 shillings, then Stanchart shares might be out of reach for you. So you might go for the other banks, which your 10K can get you now. Now, the idea behind this is that you can start with the little that you have. Start with the little that you have and keep topping up as you average down. Averaging down means that if you're buying today, like I told you, Stanchart shares today is 202. Our KCB shares is 34.85 shillings as of today. So you can start your shares worth 10,000 shillings. That is the 299 shares. And then when the share price comes down for that KCB, you can buy more shares. Okay? Accumulate these shares up to a level where you feel if this bank or if this counter was to pay dividends as per its dividends history, you'll be able to get a substantial amount. And then you can pick the next counter. Or you can accumulate these shares until you get maybe to 100,000 shares or 10,000 shares, depending on your target. And then you pick the next counter and you start building on that. Or you can also, another strategy you can apply is note down a list of 4 or 5 stocks that you want to invest in, the counters you'll be interested in, and then monitor them. Whenever you see the share price for any of these counters down or hitting the rock bottom or coming down, you can pick those shares. Always go picking the lowest shares. But you can start investing with any amount. Do not be limited. You don't have to wait until you get the 100,000 shillings like the person was being advised. What if you don't get that 100,000 shillings? What if you're only able to raise 10K every month? Will you have to wait for 10 months later for you to start investing? Of course not. Start with whatever little that you have. And there's something that will happen to your psychology that once you already have your CDS account up and running, once you have bought the first shares, your first batch of shares, the motivation to keep buying, the desire to keep buying more and seeing your wealth grow will just strike you. I felt the need to clarify to you guys or to motivate you that the best time to start investing is always now, if not yesterday. And the amount you need to start investing is what you have in your pockets. If you are a Christian, I don't know if you remember the story where God asked Moses, what are you holding on your hand? Use it. So what do you have in your pockets? What do you have in your ABSa balance? Use that amount to start. You can start with the little that you have, but be sure to keep adding or topping up your investment in the specific counters that you will be interested in. And the aim is to always buy at the lowest price possible. Now, finally, a number of you have not subscribed to the channel. And this is my humble request to you. Kindly press the subscribe button if you haven't. For those who have already subscribed, thank you so much. You are the reasons I keep doing these videos.